Hello, hello. Let's see if this is all working. Overwatch audio, yes, Overwatch audio is going. Let me verify this. Yes, the pen is working, good. Alrighty. So now I guess I just wait for a few people to join before I start talking and everything. I believe both Twitch and YouTube streams are correct. Do this for now. Can close Discord at this point, I believe. Let me close this. Stream manager. Let me see. Yo, what up, Arya? How are you doing? Thank you for the sub again. 2 months. I have not yet fixed alerts, but maybe in the future I will when I have more time, and especially more interest in the whole Twitch part of things. Then I'll I'll worry about the alerts. I've been really focused on my own champ grinds. A lot of replays to take a look at here. Let's see, what was this one? Okay. Let's start with this one. Are you very tired? I see. I haven't heard you talk much on Discord, so yeah. I assumed it was something like that. But yeah, I hope you make it through. I can't say I relate completely because I've not chosen that kind of life. I'm not really doing, like, I am on university theoretically, but I have put it on hold for a few years. I don't really see myself living a typical life by society's standards. Only really doing my own little thing like this with content creation and everything. So I can say that I perfectly understand the difficulties that quote unquote normal people go through. But yeah. Let me check something. What did I wanna see? Maybe I'm just thinking that I'm forgetting something that I'm not. Is the quality of the Twitch stream good? It keeps bugging me and saying that it's unstable, but I don't think it is, right? Also, can you all see when I do this? Just to confirm. I always like to make sure. But yeah, I hope everything goes well, Arya. This is a different time for me to stream, so maybe I should expect less viewers and everything. Also, I do know that I have a lot of lurkers, so might be a bit until I can actually get the answers that I'm looking for. Yeah, let me see. I'm gonna have to remember that I put my overlay on the bottom left corner, so I cannot really draw in there. Y'all are not gonna be able to see. Oh yeah, I remember now what I wanted to check. I remember now. So let me check that real quick. But chat. Can someone just confirm real quick if y'all can see me draw on the screen? I'm writing no, I'm drawing with a yellow pen. See? Alrighty. Thank you. So what up, Amin? Yeah, you can see it. Good, good, good. Okay. Now we're getting some activity. Now people have joined. That's good, that's good. I think I'm gonna do a quick run through maybe on this VOD. And then we're gonna see how it goes afterwards. Because I do have an announcement that I wanna make, but I would like to wait until more people are here to make the announcements. Okay. I think I'm gonna keep this on OBS and then... Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit weird because I usually don't have to worry about OBS when I do this. But now I do. But yeah, it should be fine because then I don't have to worry about Discord, which is what I usually have. So yeah, no, it will work out. It will work out. Okay, so let me actually play this, and then when necessary, I'm gonna use my pen. Yeah, it's already at 10 seconds. I can leave the little things on top. So, the idea for this stream, besides the announcement of course, is gonna be for me to be doing some self-reviews. I'm gonna be looking at my own replays, and I'm gonna be doing some analysis. This is gonna serve an educational purpose, right? So for you all in the audience, you can pick something up, you can learn from it. Of course, also feel free to ask questions about why I make certain decisions, and then maybe ask me to like further talk about a topic. Because one thing that, since I have a lot of VODs, I don't expect myself to really add too much detail to any given moment unless someone specifically asks me to, right? I'm just doing quick reviewing of myself to just have a general feel of like, is there a big mistake that I'm making that I would like to fix? Is there a takeaway that I could have from this moment, right? Or this VOD or whatever it may be. So unless there's a specific question in mind, unless you specifically say that you want me to develop on a specific topic for you to learn, I'm not gonna be paying too much attention to any given moment and giving it too much time, if that makes sense, right? So for example here, I don't have to analyze much. We're just moving points, poking Winston, while the team takes space, right? Just poke Winston, poke Winston, poke Winston. Okay, Orisa fed. Just poke Winston a little bit. Sure. Okay, try to clear Venture without my Winston being there. A little bit scary to do so because without our tank, it's easier for them to push, right? There's less resistance for them pushing because our team has less presence. So maybe not the best, but at the same time, it's just I got stuck. If I didn't get stuck here, this push is fine. I have deflect for the drill, so if it wasn't for that. Also, I just ended up peeking poorly here for the people main, so yeah. So the spirit of the play, like, yes, I could have not gone for the play, but I think the spirit of the play is fine even without Orisa. I just needed to handle the situation better. Yeah. Once I have more viewers, then I will make the announcements. So I right now don't have, I have OBS on one of my monitors, Overwatch on the second one. So if you all can tell me when I have around 10 viewers or more on YouTube, I'll make the announcements. But until then, I'll just keep reviewing this VOD and then we'll go back after the announcements. Yeah, again, just poking Winston, just trying to clear space. Okay, we got a good cooldown trade, right? Winston was too early. That's perfect. So now I can maybe look to push. Where is Orisa? Oh yeah, I remember being confused here. Like, wait, Winston is out with no bubble. Why are we not pushing? Oh, that's because my Orisa was clearing high grounds. That makes sense. If our Orisa was actually pushing here, maybe I actually push on the angle, maybe I actually push up top through here, or maybe I even walk through the flank. But yeah. This does make sense, and here I'm just again focusing Winston, clearing him, because and this is an important thing, right? Very easy for a lot of Genji players to make this mistake. Look at where the backline is. There is really not much point in me trying to set up. I could maybe try and deal with the scarcity, right? But that's about it, right? A lot of players in this situation will be like, no, Genji does not have the role of shooting tank, but yes, he does. Genji can shoot tank very effectively depending on the situation, and even if I was to set up on backline, how long is it gonna take for me to actually reach this Juno? Am I actually gonna be able to kill this Juno considering Ana is gonna free heal her like this? Is the opportunity cost worth it when I can deal so much pressure to this Winston for free and then deepen my angle on backline once my team has space? Like what is going through my brain right now is that like I cannot reach backline, so it's not worth thinking about flanking yet. What they're giving up for keeping themselves safe through this massive distance is they're missing pressure. And so what you're gonna see is that we're often bullying this Winston on the trade main. And so once we actually bully him again, now that my Orisa is free to push here since after she already cleared the high ground right here, is that we're gonna be able to take space. The enemy team just cannot actually keep us in the choke because they're playing safe from dives, right? So that's what they give up, that's the trade-off. So you don't always have to force plays on the backline as Genji. In this situation, just spam tank, spam tank, spam tank. Okay, we get a little space, Orisa walks, our backline gets to have some better sight lines over here, and then I can go this way or go that way or whatever it may be. Then here I'm clearing Tracer. Juno now gets close, so maybe I could actually look for something, but I don't have the coolants for it. And then we just nano. So, unfortunately, they got nano. We didn't use our own nano, but they pushed back in. And we didn't actually make use of the resource advantages that we had. This is a good trade though, because then this is when I actually decided to make a play, right? Because now the backline was getting close. I was not gonna get a kill on the front line or anything because they nanoed in, right? So I'm not gonna be able to do much about that. We also didn't have like an ultimate that keeps us safe, like Rally, Sound Bearer, even Trank. We don't have like a support comp that does very well against dive. We really need to just like poke out the dive before it happens, because if the dive already reaches us, we're probably dead. So in this situation, hanging back would be something that I could do if we had something like Ana Brig, right? Maybe, but with Ana Zen, no. Not gonna survive, so I immediately go for the flank and just go for a trade here. Ana had no nade, so it was just about sleep. And yeah, this trade is good, because now we can actually push. Now I start clearing Winston, but yeah, they don't have Ana, they shouldn't be playing this aggressive. So just that one Ana pick, that one late Ana pick, just gives us the first corner for free. And my opponents just didn't want to just give it up for free like this, but they really should have. So now they're actually just staggering. Which is great. So now I got a little bit of push. I should be pushing up soon. Okay, ended up having to be the one on point because nobody really wanted to push. And yeah, this should be point, even with primal. Oh, I like this. Yeah, this is something that I'm gonna develop on later about why exactly I'm blading this type of situation. Because at first it doesn't seem like it's a rough retake for them. They're down their Winston. This is not a particularly good Ray. They don't really have the setups required to capitalize on this. This is just like, let's see if we can make something happen. But I'm just like, you know what, I'm not gonna let this. So I'm just gonna trade it with Blade and guarantee probably that we cap this fight. But yeah, I'm gonna let me move this. Yeah, I'm gonna move this. Okay, there we go. Now I can read chat better. But yeah, I wanna guarantee that they don't retake, that we cap. Yes, sure. But yeah, there is more to that play that I haven't talked about here, and I'll develop on that later once we actually get more viewers for me to make the announcements. Poking Winston, he's the only thing here. I actually could have killed him. That's way crazy part. I don't think this dive was bad. Before I actually play, let me just first put the bottle on my, put the cap on my bottle of water, so that I don't end up making a disaster by flipping it over when I'm trying to move my mouse or something. There we go. Oh yeah, I completely forgot. If at any point I'm making drawings behind my overlay, just let me know. I'm not used to having the overlay on while I do these, so maybe I should just remove it. Yeah, I don't think that this dive is particularly bad. There is a decent chance that I actually am doing this play fast enough that the tracer doesn't blink out, and I maybe get a one shot or something. It wasn't the greatest because the tracer did look at me, but I made it fast enough where there was a possibility. So the spirit of the play is fine. It's just maybe this wasn't the perfect read by me on like whether or not I could actually make this. Because if I actually force recall, I'm fine, I think. But even then, like my team can back me up, and in this case they have to drastically overextend to push me. So I was a really expensive death. So my team is just my team just catches the players trying to kill me, and we get the fight win. Yeah, what up, KL? What up, Mine Rabbit? Do you mean on here, KL? Like, maybe you go this way or something, or this way? Or do you mean that I shouldn't even have made this dive? I'm trying to just understand the question. Especially because even though there is no delay, or like I use like the lowest delay on the stream, there's still some delay between me talking and seeing the message and everything, right? What the best option was? I mean, theoretically, I shouldn't be just making a move. I could just sit in this position or whatever it is, close by, control the space to deny Winston from being here, right? If he jumps, he has to trade health with me. I can move back, get healed, keep shooting him. You even saw how I forced him out earlier, right? But I can just hold space for now and poke. But I saw an opportunity to make a play on the Tracer, and this is what I really want to mention. I'm trying to tread into territory that I'm waiting for the announcements to properly analyze. But yes, I don't necessarily need to make that play. But my brain just told me to go for that play, so I went for that play. Yeah, what up, Roses? What's the best combo to limit low targets? Slash double fan. If by slash you mean dash, is that it? I have 12 viewers now. Oh yeah, thank you. So I'll talk about it real quick. It depends on the exact HP. So let me do quick math. 27 damage, so it would be 81 for triple body shot, and then you add 50 from dash, 40 from melee, so this is gonna be 90, right? So 90, so this is 171, right? Unless I'm screwing up my math. So this would be just like your quote-unquote standard combo. No, thank you. I'm in the middle of a stream. But yeah, this would be just like your, as long as you're hitting shurikens, your quote-unquote baseline damage number. So no, don't worry. I welcome any question. I have coached many players from from all ranks, all the way from bronze to top 500, top 100, top 50 Genji players. So yeah, but the baseline that you're like, you should be able to guarantee this number, the dash hit and the melee, because you can dash to the ground, you can dash a surface, or you can just hang back to make sure that you are at the around 50-meter range to actually stop the dash in the middle of the air, right, without assistance from a surface to stop it early, to make sure that you land the melee. But yeah, I would say don't overthink the combos too much. You can practice them in the practice range, just getting used to just like the timing of the presses of the buttons, the general flicking that you want to do. Ideally, you're not trying to make 180 combos where you have to do this. Ideally, it's just a dash to the ground and then slightly flick the camera up. I can show this on practice range after. But don't try to be too flashy with combos. Even the best players are not that reliable on on like the hardest combos. The ones that you can be decently reliable are the ones that I went on this Tracer, which was a dash to the ground, so that the only flick that I need to do is a small flick up. So in this case, obviously Tracer is a very mobile character, but on a character like Cassidy that isn't very mobile, if I hit my mechanics, which is the small flick, then it's gonna hurt. It's just about whether or not it is a good moment to go for the combo or not, right? Alrighty. Yeah, sometimes you're gonna, like, if you think that you're gonna get the kill, use the melee. If you don't think that you're gonna get the kill yet, you don't use the melee, because that way you can keep firing shurikens faster. When you use the melee, there's a slight delay before you can shoot again. So melee is ideally a finisher. Alrighty. Now, what I was gonna talk about the announcements is, let me see. Yeah, okay. I think I'm just gonna do it here because it's not like necessarily something that I need a specific screen for, but it's something that I've noticed about my own gameplay, and I'm trying to organize a project with Spylo and Stefano, for those that know them. A really interesting project on ego and psychology of high level performance, because this is something that I've been thinking about for a while, and now I kind of hit a breaking point, an eureka moment for myself. And for those that know Videx, I was even chatting with him yesterday on his stream about it. But something that basically I've noticed something about myself that is gonna drastically change the way that I stream content. YouTube content or video content on YouTube should be the same, but stream content's gonna change a lot. Basically, something that I've noticed about myself is that my own understanding of the kind of player that I am was roughly correct, but also very wrong, and that was actually tanking my performance, like actually tanking my performance. And now that I've fixed this, I have noticed that even in just like 2 days, my performance just did this. It's crazy. But before I actually answer exactly about like what kind of profile of player I was and what I have done to fix this and how it has done this impact and how this is gonna change my stream content, I want to actually ask you all to try and quickly describe my own gameplay. How would you describe me as a player, my type of player profile, let's say? That's something that I'm curious about. And yeah, in the meantime, let me just remember the time, 4:26. I'm gonna go to the practice range to show combos. Because one thing I will say, for a bit, I've been thinking about making a video about like the misconception that I am a Genji player that plays safe or that encourages safe play, right? Because I certainly talk a lot about some topics, especially because Genji players tend to lean on the overly aggressive side. But wait, sorry, I got lost because I started to try and read chat in the middle of my sentence. People usually think that I discourage aggressive play, that I lean on the safe side, partly because of like high latency, and also partly just because of like philosophy on my side, and then trying to push this to others. And while yes, there is some stuff that I need to correct in a way for players, so that they stop, like, quote unquote harming themselves with like bad practices, right? But I would also say that this is pretty untrue, because especially if I've seen my streams earlier in Overwatch 2, you will see that, like, one, it's not true that I play safe, and if anything, I actually lean more aggressive than people would actually think. Heck, I even made a comment about this on I don't remember what video it was, but there was someone commenting about my playstyle or something like that. And I even commented like, if you compare my playstyle and Hiku, usually a lot of people would say that I'm the safe guy, Hiku is the aggressive one, when it's just wrong, and I'm actually the aggressive guy and he is the safer one. Especially like earlier on when Hiku would say, I don't quite remember if he still has this, let's say, philosophy, but he would say that like often in terms of advice for people, oh, follow up on your tank, look at your tank, wait for your tank to go in, etc, etc. So Hiku would just sit back, wait, poke, okay, my tank is going in, okay, mechanics, right? When I would just be ignoring that and like, yes, I would time engagements properly, but I would be independently from my tank trying to use the path of the map to close the gap and be in close range as much as possible, right? So depends a little bit of like exactly your understanding of aggressive, right? But something that I've for a while thought about is, and that this is a little bit of interesting because of like the way that I make content, is how it affected my gameplay. Because remember, I just talked about how I was more aggressive, quote unquote, at the start of Overwatch 2. And that's because, to a certain extent, I started to use the misconceptions that people had and my own misconceptions also about myself that has actually started to affect my gameplay. So let me actually get to my point then, now that I have this little bit of information. The educational content that I make doesn't focus on the mechanical part, right? It focuses on macro concepts like positioning and timing and etc, right? And so it's very easy to focus on those, and especially like because I enjoy thinking about the game so much, the more that I talk about those in videos and the less focus I give on mechanics, the more it ends up subconsciously affecting my own gameplay, to the point where I don't end up trying to be as mechanical during matches. I start to try and avoid mechanics during matches. I try and focus too much on the macro, on those concepts like positioning and timing. Oh yeah, just real quick, I'm gonna interrupt myself. I'm not talking like, oh hey, I'm better than Hiku or whatever, right? I love Hiku. I mean nothing wrong, right? I'm just doing a little comparison because I think it is interesting how people would usually view him as the more aggressive Genji when I would actually, and would actually, even if we wanted later, explain why I think that I am the more aggressive Genji player, right? And why there is this misread on like these differences. But yeah, in terms of like who is better, I would argue that I am better. I have been consistently higher ranked than him for the vast majority of the game's lifespan, if not the entirety of it. So he is extremely good mechanically, probably better than me, but it's not just about mechanics in the game, right? And so depends on what you want to judge it for, right? You can think he's a better content creator, I don't care. You can think that you just prefer to watch him, that's also fine, right? But just like if we're just thinking about quote-unquote who is the best Genji player, the only true metric that someone could use this to and not have like an argument based on subjective opinions would be rank, and then that's theoretically I'm the best one, but I don't care. Like I could be lower ranked than him and I wouldn't really care. So yeah, just trying to make sure that no one misunderstands this, because I don't mean any harm to anyone, right? If at some point I end up trying saying something wrong like that, it's just like, please feel free to let me know, because I don't want to actually say anything bad like that. Anyway, where was I? This ended up being a little bit of a longer tangent than I wanted to. But oh yeah, so I ended up focusing too much on the macro concepts, right? And this ended up manifesting on my gameplay. Less mechanics, more game sense, quote unquote, but most importantly, because my channel is built around teaching the game, right? Oh, I'm gonna talk about timing in this video. Oh, I'm gonna talk about for positioning in this video, etc, etc. And not about necessarily the gameplay. not the mechanics, right? Even if I think that my mechanics are good for the rank still. This to focus on mechanics. Yeah, I'm getting lost because I'm reading chat. I'm sorry. This is not an organized announcement. Where was I? Let me stop shooting. Let me just actually focus on what I'm saying. Oh god. No, don't worry. It's not your fault. It's my fault. I'm not too used to streaming, and that's something that we're gonna get into it about, just like why I'm changing the way that I'm streaming. But yeah, for coaching, just DM me on Discord. Join my Discord server. DM me. We can discuss there. Okay. Yeah. So I was talking about. Oh yeah. So I was manifesting those things, right? Those. Oh yeah, and on my streams, because my channel is built around that, right? It's not focused on mechanics, it's focused on the game sense. On my streams, I thought that no one would watch me just for the gameplay if I didn't narrate. So I started narrating. And during that narration, obviously I'm trying to provide educational value, matching the content of the channel, right? So if that is the case, then oops, no, it's not that's the case. Let me restructure this. So because the channel is about education, I tried to stream making the educational content, narrating during the matches, right? Especially because I had this idea that I am a game sense player. I may have good mechanics, but mechanics are not why I am in GM, right? It's mostly my game sense. So this ended up with a reinforcement loop on myself that caused me to, instead of playing instinctively, to start to think more actively about where is everyone positioned. Oh, this tracer is here. If I want to go on this tracer, maybe I need to flank, etc, etc. And yes, this is all fine and good, but Overwatch is not like chess, or let's say a long chess game, right? Overwatch is a fast-paced game, so doing those types of narrations is gonna be bad for your performance. It can be good for learning, but I have already played this game for almost a decade. I do still have a lot to learn, but I don't necessarily need to think about those more basic concepts, right? I can talk about them for the sake of the viewers, but if I am trying to perform and I'm trying to climb, I shouldn't be analyzing some more basic things like timing and positioning, or at least the basics of timing and positioning for my own performance, if that makes sense. So by doing those things and by thinking that I needed to find something deeper, and I also needed to, through the analysis, create the solution because I am the quote-unquote smartest Genji player, I would end up slowing myself down to the point where I wouldn't figure out what I needed to do in time. Not only that, I would be very likely to overthink a situation where my first guess would be good, but I wouldn't go with my first guess because I would try to fully analyze the situation as if I was in an actual VOD review and actually, okay, let's think about this approach, let's think about that approach, which one is better, blah 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 blah. I don't have that time in the game. So in a game, you really do just have to, okay, what's the first thing that you think about? Okay, go with that. Just now focus on executing. And this whole thing about overthinking, not using my active part of the brain to focus on the correct things, all of that contributed to me absolutely tanking my performance. Not just because it would make me not actually as smart as I think I am, but because of the overthinking, but it would make my mechanics worse because I would be focusing on, should I actually be taking this duel of the tracer or not, rather than just, regardless of whether I should, just taking the duel and focusing my best on actually landing the one shot or whatever it may be, right? So this ended up also manifesting my problems of mechanics, right? So not only was I not a player that was on this rank because of my mechanics, but also now my mechanics were even worse than that because of this whole thing. So I ended up overthinking and underplaying. right? That is the consequence of what ended up happening with me. Yeah. So let me drink a little bit of water now that we have gone through this part. Alrighty. So, this is where we ended up at. I ended up misunderstanding myself and thanking my own performance. I ended up thanking my performance on the gameplay side of things. I ended up thanking my performance on the gameplay side of things. And so, unless I ended up being, let's say, in the zone where you just function at like peak performance, right? Your brain thinks faster, your moves are smoother and more accurate, right? I wouldn't usually perform all that great. So yes, I would still perform to a high level, but if we see like here, career profile, let's see, Season 9, Masters 2, Season 10, I don't know what this is, but I'm assuming this is like around Masters or low GM. Again, low GM, this is probably low GM. This is a season that I actually did some climbing on, so got a pretty decent finish. This one, less so, but still a better finish, right? So on these later seasons after the Season 9 changes, I started to fix some things, but I ended up being a Genji player that oftentimes struggled to perform at the level that I should be. So yes, I would still look quote-unquote smart, but it's because I would be, to a certain extent, smurfing, and so like the amount of handicap that I was putting on myself through the overthinking, through the lack of focus on mechanics, caused me to drop on performance, and now that performance, instead of making me be, let's say, a high GM player, made it so I was either a low GM player or a high Masters player. And so this caused me to develop a little bit of an imposter syndrome and doubt about my own gameplay. So yes, I thought that like I was very good, but I thought that I needed to learn more. And yes, I still have more to learn. But again, I have played for almost a decade. I have learned a lot about this game. There is much more that I have already learned than theoretically that I have to learn. Although I do think that is kind of arguable, but you get my point, right? I've hit essentially like, if you think about a graph of like improvements, it sort of goes like this, where at the start you have like the biggest growth, and then the later you go, the less and less each growth is per the time that you spend, right? This is like your skill level, and this is like the time, right? So this is what I'm trying to say with this, right? Alrighty. Now then, I have come to realize lately, I don't remember exactly why I have come to realize this, but I've come to realize that my best performances are not actually when I'm thinking and doing exactly as I quote-unquote label myself as a player, right? The game sense guy, not the mechanics guy. My best games are actually when I'm performing mechanically very well, and I'm not actually thinking all that much. But how is that possible? That doesn't theoretically make sense, right? Well, it does make sense if I mislabeled myself, is the thing. And after some investigation, this season especially, which is the season that I've been doing a lot of grinding, both on this account and on the other one, looking for things to improve, actively working on them more actively than I did on previous seasons, spending more time playing, also doing some introspection about myself. Something that I've come to realize is that I have in fact mislabeled myself. And yes, or actually no, I'm not actually not the smartest Genji player. I still believe that I'm the smartest Genji player. But let's actually go back to the VODs. Actually, I might pull a different VOD here real quick to show a quick example. Where is, actually no, I think that this VOD is good. Yeah, I think that this VOD is good. I just need to go for ultimates. Bookmarks, poke, ultimates. I think it is maybe this one, this last one. Yeah, there. This is exactly the one I wanted. So yes, I still believe myself to be the smartest Genji player, but I was trying to manifest that quality wrong. And I'll get to how this is gonna change the way that I stream soon. I'm just trying to set everyone on the same information level as me, because I did a whole lot of introspection and thinking and experimenting during this last month or two, that I need to have people catch up to so that they understand why I'm making the decisions that I am, right? And maybe even realize that I am making some mistakes, and maybe giving me more insight so that I can further learn or whatever it may be. Or maybe this is just something that I'm doing and sharing so that you all can think about yourselves and maybe learn from that, right? What's that overlay? It's the bookmarks. It's new. Just go to this little thing, like the timeline, and then you just press the bookmark button, and you can select player, you can select certain events, and you can jump between them. But yeah, this is gonna be a great example of exactly what I mean, of like me being the quote-unquote smartest Genji player, right? Look at the play that I'm gonna make. I'm not gonna explain this yet. I'm gonna try to leave it for you all in the chat to guess exactly why I'm making this play, right? But look at the play that I'm going for, and I bet you that most Genji players don't go for this play. It's only me and maybe a few others that would see this play and actually go for it. I'm just gonna show this play, and then I want you all to tell me why I'm making this play. I'm not gonna show the result of this because it would spoil some things, but with now I've given you what you need to know. Because if we think about it, I'm gonna do just a little bit of help for viewers, just a little bit of direction. Because you got bored? No. This is theoretically against everything that goes towards a successful blade. My team is not engaged, right? My team is not distracting the enemy team. The enemy team is not committed. They can all turn back, kite my team, so my team doesn't get to use my distraction and damage, and all focus on me. This is a 1v5 blade. It's a mistimed 1v5 blade. Blades theoretically want a distraction from your team, resources to be used on the enemy team maybe to make the blade easier. Blade is a hard ultimate to use because it draws so much attention. So the attention can be dealt with by your team engaging, and then resources and the amount of counterplay is partly attention, partly how late you are in the fight, so that characters like Cassidy don't have Hindernade, characters like Kiriko don't have TP, and Suzu and stuff like that, right? So this theoretically goes against everything that I would tell players about in terms of blading. Heck, I'm even working on a blade guide that I'm gonna release probably on next season. It would have released this season if not for my champ grind. Hey, what up, Nautilus? I mean, no, I'm not thinking about the Juno ring. Like, yes, theoretically the Juno ring has already been used, but I don't remember if I actually forced the Juno ring or not, but I was not thinking about the Juno ring here. Heck, you could even just like make this analysis way before then, when I was still flanking around. You could already give him the reasoning as for why I was making this play. You don't even need to show the initial part of the engagement to read why I'm making this play. Also wasting all of their CDs. I don't see a value in that, because it's much more valuable for my Orisa to go in and waste CDs, maybe ults to waste their CDs, and then just have Blade as a cleanup, because Blade is extremely strong as a cleanup tool, right? Using Blade to draw resources can have value at times, but if you have a better option, then it's much better to use the Blade as a cleanup and not as the thing that forces ults, forces resources, so that your team can clean up with their things, right? Yes, exactly, right? It is the correct play, Mine Rabbit. That's the fun thing, right? It is the correct play, but I'm just saying that just like, it feels counterintuitive, right? I'm breaking all the rules of Blade to make this play, and yet this play is right. This is it's so weird about this play, and this is why. And by the way, this situation is something that this play is something that I'm making after I have done the whole introspection and fixed the problems that I was making. So this is not a wrong play. In fact, this is me showing that I'm the smartest Genji player after having fixed things about my ego and everything, which I will get to in a bit. So there is a phrase that I heard on one of my videos that I really liked, where it's like, there's a saying in chess where players say, you learn the rules like a pro, and so that you know how to break them like an artist, or something like that. I disagree with this, because yes, enemy team can just turn around kite and turn at me. How likely is this gonna happen in a ranked game? I don't know, but still the point stands, right? And I don't think that we need to make an analysis this deep. I'm gonna be very honest. I'm gonna help you all and just completely remove any details that are not important from here. Let me do this screen. Yes, there we go. And no, it's not because it's last fight, because it can be last fight, but the principles still remain. So this is not important information. Let's remove this. Just from this and this, we have enough information about why I'm making that play. Want to combo with Terra? No, I would wait for Terra Surge. Heck, you can remove this. No, I can't actually remove this. Like, this is still important information, but no, I'm not trying to combo ults with my team. Ult disadvantage, you're in the right track. Yes. Why would I force early when we are at an ult disadvantage? Yep. That is basically it, yes. Just trying to force ults, make him panic. Here, this is something that is very... And like, yes, it's true that I want to make them panic and force ults, but it's not just about that. I don't want to just take an even trade. I think I can do better. I think I can actually win this fight. So yes, if enemy team plays well, yes, I'm just gonna take a good ult trade and get out. But I was actually going for a kill. Something that you might have heard Spylo talk about in one of his pro reviews is the concept of dirty fights or disadvantageous fights, right? The enemy team has better ult economy than us right now. We don't quite have our support ult online. I don't know if something like Rally is gonna stop a Ray push or a Kitsune push. Our team is also not particularly well set up to make use of our ults. Like, yes, their Surge Blade is potentially strong, but my brain just told me, I just had a feeling that we would not be able to survive their ult economy to the point where I could farm Nano Blade or I would get a proper Terra Surge Blade combo off. I wanted to take matters into my own hands. So, I don't think that we're gonna win the straight up trade fight with where you use one ult, they use one ult, we use one ult, they use one ult. I think that we're gonna lose the fight that's plays by the rules of the game. So I'm not gonna play by the rules of the game. I am gonna play dirty. I'm gonna break the rules. So I'm making a play that's purposefully so out of whack that it shouldn't make sense, because if we play normally, we'll lose this fight. We need to make something like this. If we don't make a weird flank, if we don't go for a ballsy first engagement on a situation where we shouldn't, then we're gonna just lose the fight. So I'm going for this because my attempt was to assassinate Juno before Ray. Even if I don't, I potentially force ults. Even if I don't, I potentially force an unbelievable amount of cooldowns. So then, now we can actually tie back to the idea of like the whole forcing cooldowns disproportionately. And yes, then this blade would be a little bit better. But the important thing is not just about the cooldowns, it's about the fact that a normal fight doesn't work. Because if a normal fight worked, this would be an unnecessary risk. But because a normal fight won't work, this does. This is in fact the right approach. And as we're gonna be seeing here, I am actually gonna force Suzu, I'm gonna force Ray, I'm gonna kill Juno, I'm gonna force High Noon, my Orisa is gonna cancel Noon, so I trade 1 ult for 2, and I live. Well, I would have lived if I dashed properly. I just locked myself into a corner and Tracer just killed me. So this right here was like, the execution afterwards, the escape wasn't good, so I can learn from this, right? I just walked away from my supports. I could have dashed through this mini instead, right? If I walked this way, both my Brig and my Ana could heal me. But this has, even with me dying, this has already put us at a decent chance because of the disproportionate amount of resources that I forced, the fact that I killed the Juno, they got a bad Ray, and now my team can actually make something through that chaos so that we can win the fight that we're not supposed to win, right? And that's the important thing. Look at the amount of details. Does anyone remember the moment when I initially asked the question about this? Let me actually go back in the chat. Yeah, I asked the question about this fight almost 10 minutes ago. We have been analyzing this for almost 10 minutes. Isn't that crazy to think about? And yet, despite analyzing this for this long, right? Despite analyzing this for this long, or sorry, not despite, so if we spent 10 minutes analyzing this play, and sure, we could have done this faster, but there is no way that in the time that it took for me to, after we won the last fight, and then I chose to go for the flank and do this, I analyzed everything consciously. There's simply no time for me to weigh everything consciously. And that's where the realization comes in. I have so much knowledge about the game that I do not need to rationalize things. When I was around this moment right here, we're gonna see the exact moment my brain clicks, right? I had like 10 seconds maybe to chill. But my brain, not even my brain, my body just told me, flank. Trust me, right? Like, obviously I'm kind of like romanticizing what actually happened, right? But this is in fact what happened. This wasn't something that I rationalized. This wasn't just me actively thinking. If we talk about like what instincts are a result of our hard work, right? To build up something first consciously to the point where we're so used to it that now we can do it subconsciously, right? So everything that we discussed here is something that I did without even thinking about it. And so my brain analyzed the alt economy, my brain analyzed what would happen if we clashed, my brain analyzed information about how my team plays and the enemy team plays and etc. And my brain said, we're not gonna win the straight up fight, so go flank and try something like this. And then I saw the Juno and my brain was like, this is the opportunity, go for it. And I didn't hesitate. This is what Old Poke wouldn't have done. Old Poke would have been paralyzed by decisions, and he wouldn't have flanked. He would have second guessed if he should make this play, because this looks like an awful engagement. But New Poke doesn't give a shit. New Poke just plays in the present, and New Poke just trusts his instincts. Because, here's the thing, I believe I'm the smartest Genji player in the world. I trust my instincts. The mistake wasn't that I am not the smartest Genji player, right? The mistake is that I thought I was the smartest Genji player through active thinking, which is not true. I am the smartest Genji player to the point where I don't even have to think. So my instincts are gonna give me the correct play 90% or over that amount of times during matches. And so the only thing that I need to do during matches is focus on my mechanics, focus on the execution, and most importantly, not second guessing myself. Literally just doing things. That's the realization that I came to after a lot of introspection. So the whole thing about content that I mentioned prior might be making more sense now. The fact that my channel is about educational content and focuses so much on game sense and not so much on mechanics and this and that, right, caused me to, doing streams when I wanted to stream the gameplay, make me narrate, and that made me that made me think that I needed to narrate, and that the narration, that the active thought process was what got me to this rank, which simply wasn't true. I was this rank before I was streaming and narrating my thought process. Heck, I perform better off stream when I'm not doing it, but somehow I was still thinking that that was actually the correct thing when it wasn't. So now I've started to play games without thinking actively. I'm literally just focusing on execution. I'm living in the moment. And this is the other part of the equation that we're gonna be doing today, right? I have selected a few replays. We even started this before the announcement when we didn't have quite enough people here. But there are a lot of replays where I know for a fact that I played really well in. I just don't know yet. That's the trade-off with the instincts, right? I may make the right play, but I don't necessarily know why I made the right play. I only know that this Juno blade was good because I analyzed it after on the replay. Let me give another example. Let me actually even go back to this replay. Poke, ultimate. Let's go to my POV. Let's go to this ultimate. Yes, I can answer that soon, Anthony. I just want to finish this real quick. I want you all to tell me why I went for this play. Because again, in the moment, I did not rationalize this. I'm just playing on instincts. I'm literally just focusing on executing mechanically. That's literally all my brain is doing. Is just reminding itself to be present in the moment and just execute, right? So I'm basically not thinking, I'm just living in the moment here. And I remember afterwards on this play being like, why did I go for this play? I don't know why I went for this play. Right? Or this blade rather. I don't know why I went for this blade. But analyzing it afterwards, this is a really good blade. And this is the important thing, right? My instincts are very good because I trained them. So it's not like I need to be like, okay, I just play the game every day or whatever it may be and just trust instincts. No, I only got the instincts to the level where they make where they are so accurate because I trained them. So in game, I need to focus on my performance. I need to focus on my mechanics. Outside of the game, I study. That's what I need to do to perform well. And I was mixing things up. I was thinking about thinking during the game, which is not true. And often I was warming up outside of the game, which is also not true. In fact, can I give a little secret? We're gonna see a few matches today, because I'm gonna stream for like 1-2 more hours probably, analyzing these replays, and you're gonna see that I am very mechanical in these matches, and I had cold hands, and I didn't warm up. And that's one of the things about my mechanics. My mechanics flip-flop between really good and really bad at a moment's notice. That's what they do. And this is because of my level of engagement in the game and my level of focus on mechanics. But once I figured the thing out about like the exacts of my ego and everything, which I can mention more about later, and for those that read Blue Lock, this might be making a little bit more sense than the others as of right now, because again, it's complicated. There's a lot of info that I still need to talk about and we need to discuss. But because I got so engaged by making those, by figuring those things out. Yo, what up, VTEX? And because I allowed myself to now give myself active focus on the gameplay, I actually engaged with the game on a deeper level. So as much as yes, playing the game and practicing mechanics and everything and warming up does give you better mechanics, one of the most important things for performance in general is how engaged you are. If you are not enjoying the game, if you're sad, has anyone ever tried to play this game while depressed? I have. I played like garbage. But if you play on the game while you're really enjoying it, you just win. You just win because you're having fun. And having fun means your body executes better. Your brain engages with the activity more, right? So fun, and this is something that I've been saying for a while, but I haven't fully internalized it myself for my own gameplay. Your level of engagement, your level of fun with the game has a direct correlation with your level of performance. Right? But yeah, let's actually look at this blade. I'm gonna first show this blade, and then I'm gonna pause it, and then we're gonna analyze and learn from this. Because my active brain did not figure this out. And until analyzing this, I still did not have a takeaway from this. So it's not like I can completely ignore and just play and play and play, right? Again, I still really enjoy analyzing this game. That's why I coach this game. I've helped so many players through my YouTube content and private coaching sessions and my Patreon content, which is partly free, partly paid. And I really enjoy the game. So I have to still analyze. It's just about where I need to do which. I need to analyze inside the game, or sorry, outside of the game, and I need to play inside the game. Also, real quick, let me just do something on Twitch. Okay, that's fine. I just don't have alerts set up for Twitch, so if for any reason people raid or sub or something like that, I will not see it on my OBS. So I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything like that. Where is it? Oh yeah, there we go. Let me just play this blade out. Let me give a little bit more context here. Alright, that's the blade. Now I'm gonna go back here and pause it at this moment. And I want you all to analyze why this is a good blade. Because again, this is purely an instinctual blade. My instincts were right that this is a good blade. In this case, sometimes we're gonna analyze that my instincts are wrong. But no matter if my instincts are right or wrong, we can later analyze why my instincts told something for me to do, and then learn from that. Either for me to reinforce it through practice, or to do the opposite and remove a bad habit. No, I did not know Juno was alone on point. I'm sorry, I'll leave questions for later because right now I'm trying to keep on a segment that I'm talking about related to the announcement. I know that this is a weird announcement because I've been doing a lot of preface. I'm prefacing the announcement a lot of like a whole bunch of information, but it will make sense once I actually talk about how I'm changing the way that I'm streaming based on the information, because otherwise it doesn't really make sense why I'm gonna be doing my stream changes the way that I am. But for the sake of time, I've already given you all a little bit of time to think about why this blade is good. I'm actually just gonna analyze it myself. First, there's no damage follow-up. Usually, this type of blade engagement where you go for a combo beforehand is bad because you lose too much HP doing it, and then you don't have HP for the actual blade swings, right? Yes, it's good if you force a cooldown, but if I lose most of my HP here, I either need to cancel blade, or I need to just go for a risky engage at 1 HP and probably die. Blade usually won't fail if you have full HP or properly set up and everything, so it's not like blade damage is low, it's just that people usually don't live long enough to actually get the damage done, right? And so the misconception that you need to combo early usually means that they take too much damage and actually make blade weak because they only get one swing off before they die, at which point, yes, blade is weak. So usually this type of engagement is once again bad, but my instinct in this case said it's good. Why? Well, Cassidy low ground, where is Juno? Look at the attention here. Nobody is looking at me. The only damage I took was from the Cassidy while I was dashing to the Kiriko. During this actual engagement, the Kiriko does not retaliate because she was not looking at me and she's panicking after she receives the burst. So the actual blade combo, that's usually bad, right? The animation cancel into blade, is good in this situation. Again, kind of breaking the rules, but that's because I understand why the rules are there. So no LOS for people to punish, the Kiriko is not gonna look at me. Great. So now I can actually force TP early. Not just that, this Kiriko ended up not TPing in time, so I even got a swing off. So she was 1 HP. But even otherwise, this is still just like good cooldown force. Again, nobody can look at me. My tank is distracting Chu, Cassidy has no LOS, and Juno is nowhere to be seen. So afterwards, I tried to chase. I didn't know where Kiriko went to, and I did not want to waste my blade looking. I thought she was gonna TP behind, but she didn't. So once I looked here, I saw Juno, I did not see Kiriko. But again, do not hesitate, just execute. My brain told me, or my body told me, right? Because, I mean, yes, it's my brain, but it's subconscious brain, but yeah, you get what I mean. They just told me, go in, just kill this Juno. I don't have to actually finish off the Kiriko. And it was correct. If I hesitate for half a second, this Juno actually gets away from me right here. If I wasn't instant on the decision, right? But then I got the kill, right? And then here I just followed the Kiriko, and I was very focused. And so I even make the animation cancel on this ledge, and then a little flick to finish, to prevent her from being able to shoot me while I'm on the shift or on the shift animation, etc. So yeah, hesitation is defeat. Yes. It's better for you to make the wrong play without hesitation, because one, you can learn from the wrong play, and two, because you can focus on the bad play and potentially make it good. The worst thing is for you to not know if you should be making a play or not go for it. And yes, maybe there was another play that's correct, but one, you didn't go for it, and two, you even if you go for it, you're not gonna focus on actually executing it, right? So yeah, in this case, my instincts were right, and there was a whole rationale behind why this blade was good, but I didn't know in the moment, and it's not important for me to analyze in the moment. I just need to analyze it later, so that I learn from this. Was this actually a good blade or not? Do I have something here that I can learn, that I can add to my subconscious arsenal of game knowledge, right? Or not? That's the important thing. So now let me do a little bit of talking about the streams, because now I have already talked about what I'm changing about my gameplay, right? Actually focusing on mechanics and just executing, not second guessing myself, because I believe that my instincts are top tier. Probably the smartest Genji player on the world, right? That's my ego. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, I believe in it. And since I believe in it, the way that I'm gonna show it to others, the way that I'm gonna show it to myself especially, is through trusting that my instincts are correct and just executing, right? So that's what I learned from introspection. But also outside of the game, I'm gonna study, which is what I'm doing right now with chat, right? Now, with this information in mind, what do you think is gonna happen to my narrated Overwatch streams? This should be a pretty easy question for those that have actually been here for a while. I have done all of this yapping. Because yes, I know this has been a long yapping session, but it is an interesting topic, and it's why I'm trying to collab with Spilo and Stefano, who is a coach, player. I don't think that he plays all that much, but he is an Overwatch coach and a psychologist, so to talk about these topics, about ego and everything, which I find very interesting. Yeah, exactly, no narration. Because we just talked about why it was being harmful for me in the past, and why removing it has been so good for me now. Exactly. So, when I do have gameplay streams, I'll shut the fuck up and play. We even saw this not too long ago. Where was it? Midtown. This Midtown match where we just full hold the enemy team. I can probably even go here. Midtown. Right? 13-1. Good damage for the time, right? We dominated the enemy team. And this is a high ranked lobby. This is not an easy match. We just absolutely destroyed the enemy team. And a lot of it was because I just played the right position, I trust my instinct, and especially I'm focused on executing mechanically. I turned off my second monitor for this match on the stream, so I performed. So it's not even like I can't perform on stream. Again, this is another one of the pieces of information that I used to piece together my ego and what I should do, right? The fact that, especially in the past when I didn't care about like my performance, when I didn't have as much of a belief that I was the best at this, the best at that, right? And I wasn't really scared to show me playing badly or failing plays. I used to play much better on stream. Because one, I didn't give a shit if the play that I was making was wrong, and I just went for plays. And two, because I didn't have imposter syndrome and all of those things and the overthinking, right? And I especially just played, I didn't narrate. So it's not about this playing on stream, it's about the way that I play on stream. So I'll shut the fuck up and I'll play on stream, and then afterwards, maybe not immediately after the game, because keeping a good streak of games is important, so that I can get closer and closer to the zone, and keep my performance increasing, and keep my hands warm, etc. Life story? Yes, I know. If you don't care about the life story, you can just move away. You don't have to be watching here. For those that do want to watch, you have a lot of very useful information that you can use to improve your own gameplay, but for those that don't care, yeah, just move on. I'm not gonna change the stream just because some people don't wanna watch this. Heck, I don't care if people stop watching me or watching my streams because they stop narrating it, right? I'm gonna do it for my own sake because I wanna perform. I wanna be one of the highest ranked players, if not the highest ranked player. So if that means that my stream quality is a little bit lower because I don't provide occasional content, for the sake of, or at least when playing, for the sake of playing better myself, then so be it. And then those that wanna be along for the ride, they can be, right? Well, anyways, so I'll just play, and afterwards, potentially on streams like this, because this is a day that I don't see myself playing, I'm kind of taking a break during the weekends, although maybe I'll play a game or two. Then we'll analyze it after, analyze my instincts and see, were my instincts good, were my instincts bad, what can we learn, and then we add to the arsenal, right? Again, something that really helps me perform is thinking about the game. So if I, for example, VOD review someone or myself before I play, that usually gets me excited about the game. That makes me want to play, that makes me want to be smart and execute and have fun, right? So that's another part of my ego, another part of my understanding of myself, right? What I want to be. That is really useful. Heck, I don't know if Vtex is here still, but yes, I talked earlier that I was talking to Vtex about these topics and trying to help him understand his own desires with the game. In his own climb to champ. Oh, you're here? And talking to him got me excited about playing the game. I ended up not playing the game right after because it was time for me to eat, and then afterwards there was over CS, so I doubted that the high level kills would be there, and I wanted to watch and chat with Spylo. But the funny part is that without playing, just from chatting with Vtex, my body was literally warming up, and I felt like if I played 1 or 2 matches, I would literally be in the zone. So, part of my ego actually enables me to get fired up and increase my performance and get ready to play through not playing, not physical warm-ups. Physical warm-ups don't actually do very much for me. The mental warm-up is what I need to do. During the matches, I just play. But before the matches, I either analyze myself, or I analyze someone else, or I could meditate or think about the game and just get myself excited to play. Which is very interesting, right? And now, players with different profiles might have different things, right? A player that's more mechanical might want to, let's say, play deathmatch, or play a custom game that really challenges the mechanic. For example, I know a lot of players, and in the past I really enjoyed, I think that Ozoho is the updated version here. Ozoho. Let's see if this works. It's something that I really enjoyed. And so playing stuff like this for a more mechanical player whose ego tells them to just mechanically execute and shit on people, right? This kind of stuff could be the stuff that actually leads them to the zone, right? This stuff doesn't actually help me all that much, but for someone like Vtex, it might, right? So the reason why all of this introspection and everything is useful, and at first it will feel like you're grasping at straws, but once you actually understand it, then you get a level of knowledge about yourself that enables you to make conscious decisions about the way that you practice, the way that you play, that increase the quality of your practice, that increase the likelihood of you getting into the zone. And even if you don't reach the zone, the level of focus that you're gonna get in the matches, how enjoyable they're gonna be, how much you perform, right? Let me drink a little bit more water. So yeah, the streams then are gonna be what I talked about, right? If I play, I'll just play. When I analyze, it might be either a stream that's just for analyzing, or it's gonna be start with analyze, then play and shut up. And sometimes it's gonna be streams about discussions, or just maybe coaching streams or something, or whatever it might be. But the narrated gameplay streams are completely gone. You're only gonna get that kind of stuff from the YouTube videos once I add a script that goes over my thought process, right? After I analyzed it, I analyzed my instincts and then found a way to talk about it fast so that it keeps a good pace in the video, right? So if you missed that, unfortunate, but I'm not gonna do it. And I think that's honestly very good, because most of the time when I was narrating during matches, I felt very awkward because the match is just too fast paced for the narration. I cannot narrate fast enough. Like, it's just too fast. It's not a classical chess game that you have hours and hours to play, right? It's just 20 minutes. A fight happens in 30 seconds. The concepts that I need to talk about are over a minute long, right? Yeah, turning chat off. I literally turn on my second monitor off. I can't even see motion, right? So my peripheral vision doesn't get distracted, right? So yeah. That's gonna be how I'm gonna be changing my streams, and that's basically the announcement that I was making, right? Now, with this newfound knowledge, I am very close now to GM2 on this account. I am GM2 on my alt. This account is 2 games away from GM2 right now, and the important thing is that yes, I felt confident getting GM2 on my alt, but I took a long time, like 1, 2, 3 weeks, I don't remember how long. I've been struggling to get this account to Gem 2, but now that I figured these things out about my ego and how to play and everything, I feel extremely confident about climbing. And not only do I feel like I can get this today or tomorrow, I feel like I can reach champ despite the struggle that I've had these past weeks. On this season, despite there only being 9 days and still being the GM2 to GM1 jump that I need to do twice, because I want to do it on both accounts, and then a third jump from GM1 to champ on one account, maybe even on both. So there is still like a lot of rank that I need to climb in very little time. But I believe it. I believe I can do it. Because my performance lately has been showing that it's possible, right? Alrighty. So now I need to choose one of the games to actually look and analyze. What's a fun game? I'm gonna quickly remind myself of what happened in these matches, and then we're gonna actually go. What's a good one? Root is an interesting one, but we already kind of went over a few of the moments. New Junk City? New Junk City is good. Yeah, New Junk City is good. Let's go over this one. Okay. I might need to take a break in the middle of this. Because I've already talked so much. I've already drank almost half a liter of water. I'm gonna probably need to go to the bathroom, but I will announce the break. For those that have been watching it since the start, I would recommend also doing a break, getting up, stretching the legs, etc. And then we can move from there. But yeah, this is a very high level match. I don't remember the range, but a lot of very high rank players in this lobby. This is a very difficult lobby. And I'm 100% sure that old Poke would lose this. But new Poke wins. And new Poke wins even making mistakes. And new Poke will reach champ, and won't actually take that long. I played U a little bit so far. I have like 10-15 games on U. It has been a mixed bag. I started very well. I think I started going 10-1 on U. And then the next 2 days I played on U, I went very negative. I still think I'm positive overall on U, but I don't actually play that much EU. EU is nice because I get to play in the morning. But sometimes, like especially on the mornings recently, I have been doing a lot of I've been watching, for example, Chasm play, so I have not been playing myself. And for example, yesterday I was watching you, Videx, so I ended up not playing in the morning. And if I'm not playing in the morning, then I can't play EU because my morning is EU, I think late afternoon, or late evening. I don't remember the English terms for like the times of the day. After lunch, is it afternoon or evening? I don't remember. And can someone tell me? I don't want to search it up right now.
My dad
Busan works for Genji. Some of the maps are better than others, but Busan is fun for Genji.
Maybe I would have stood
But yeah, I can answer some questions now because I have finished the whole speak that was going on about the announcement, right? I did all of the prefacing of the information and the conclusion, so now I can actually answer some questions before I dive into this VOD. Especially because I will probably go grab more water. I just finished my water bottle, and I'll quickly go to the bathroom and take a quick break before I do this review. But yeah, like for example here, I don't know how many pro players are here, but I know that for example this is Rec Attack, right? And then a lot of these names I know, and I know that they're just like high rank players. I don't know how many of these are pros, but for example, Rec Attack is pro, and even if this is not, let's say, a pro lobby, Odyssey is right. Interesting. Even if this was a lobby with 0 pro players, here's the secret: high GM lobbies, like basically everyone in high GM lobbies is pro material. They might not be in a pro team, but for you to reach those ranks, you have what it takes to get into a team, start competing, and potentially rise the ranks of like competitive pro Overwatch, and then maybe even go to Overwatch CS, right? It's the difference between low GM and high GM is so big that it might be bigger than going from like plat to masters or plat to diamond, right? It's crazy. Like each division in GM is like incredibly difficult. Like it's something that you only really feel once you actually get to GM. Like before it feels like I'm exaggerating how difficult it is to climb in GM, but no, it really is. The difference between the lower rank pros and the higher rank pros, the non-pros and the pros is insane. But yeah, what were the questions that I ignored earlier? I could maybe go back all the way in chat, but I don't know if the people that ask those questions are still here. So for those that are still here and want to ask questions before I go into this review, this is the time. This is the time to ask them. Also, I'm saying that this is the time, and I'll give you all like 1 or 2 minutes to type because I'm taking a quick break. I need to go to the bathroom, I need more water, because if I keep talking right now without water, I'm not going to be able to complete this review. I'm going to lose my voice before then. So I will be right back, chat. I am back. Yes, GM Overwatch is terrifying. There is a reason why in the past I was struggling to perform and I had so much imposter syndrome and I didn't deal with the pressure very well, etc. So that's the crazy thing about the mentality shift that I've reached a conclusion for, right? Recently. Because it has given me so much confidence in myself that now I not only feel like I can reach champ, whereas before I often second guess myself, even having like reached gem join my ult and having come so close on this account so many times, I still really doubted that I even belong in these ranks, right? Heck, I oftentimes struggled in low GM. How would I become a GM, a champ player rather? But now I feel extremely confident that I can. And I am proving that lately because, for example, yesterday I beat who was it? Rack Attack. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. With really good teams too, right? So it's just like, it's not just that I've developed confidence that I don't earn, I've earned the confidence because I have been performing to this level. I can actually play against pros and beat them consistently and not have it be a fluke and be carried by my team and stuff like that, right? Which is crazy. It's basically something that's really sick because it's not because I've reached suddenly like a rapid level growth, right? It's not like I'm suddenly like, okay, I'm stagnating, boom, right? Like, yes, this did in fact happen, but this did not happen because this was the case. It's rather, I was actually, let me put this on a different color, I was actually doing this, but I wasn't actually executing on this, I was executing on this. This is what I talked about with the whole narration and the overthinking and the imposter syndrome and etc. So as actually growing as a player because I was getting more knowledge from chatting with Spylo, watching his videos, having my own gameplay, learning from it, learning from making videos and explaining concepts and etc, right? Getting a deeper knowledge of topics, but I wasn't actually able to execute. So it seems like I just spiked like crazy in performance, and I have, but it's not because I suddenly grew this, like actually grew this much. It's just that I actually realized the potential that I had that was dormant, right? Which is why I suddenly feel like I can punch up to something that I previously couldn't even fathom thinking about competing against, right? Okay, let me catch up the chat and the questions and stuff. It's also important that something else that I've changed mentality-wise is to not think that they are gods. Yes, pros are very good, but they're not perfect. They also make mistakes. And watching their POVs, if they stream, is very useful because you get to see those things. I used to think that I needed to play perfectly and I couldn't accept when I made mistakes, but they can make mistakes and they accept it. And that's a part of me, my growth as a player too, right? I've accepted that I'm not going to play perfectly, but that's not what I'm trying to achieve. I'm just trying to achieve better focus every match and just give it my all. That's my goal, not winning every match, because I know that even the best players don't win every match. There are some incredible players throughout Overwatch League, for example, that never won anything because they were stuck on bad teams, for example, despite performing like crazy. I don't know who exactly the players are, but some of the players that are right now on some of the best teams in Overwatch CS were players that weren't really winning in the past in Overwatch League because they were stuck with bad teams, right? So yes, you can perform great, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna win. So don't judge yourself by your win-loss record, judge yourself by things that you can actually be proud of yourself for, such as your own performance, your own level of focus, how much you're improving, etc. Right? I am too, Jorn. I'm too. But yeah, what was actually the question? I know that you guys were discussing a question here in chat, but I don't remember what it is. I don't see the question It's too far back. What was the question that you guys were chatting about that you wanted my insight on? Okay. Let me also organize my tabs here. Okay. Just played your best Genji but still lost? Yeah, it happens. Don't get too caught up on it. Be proud of yourself. Learn from the match. Move on. It feels bad in the moment, I know, but be proud of what you did. If you didn't play as well, you probably would have been beaten even worse. So, it's not a situation for you to be sad about, it's a situation for you to be happy about. Roses, I and my viewers, right, the people in my Discord server, do VOD reviews for free. I just won't do them right now because it's not what this stream is about. This stream is about me VOD reviewing myself. I'm gonna do probably VOD review streams of others in the future. But, so what I would recommend is submit that VOD in my Discord server in the appropriate channel. And then someone will get to it, either me or someone else. Sounds good? Yo, what up, it's me. Do against pocketed DPS? Yes, this is a good question. And in fact, we have a good example here. It's not a pocketed DPS in the terms of like a Mercy, but it is a pocketed Cassidy by a Lucio. This is an interesting one. Let's see, which fight is it? I don't remember exactly which fight that is. Yo, what up, Gio? Just frustrated? Yeah, I understand that it is, right? It's hard to always rationalize a situation that's very emotional. But it's good to try, right? Because it's easy to fall into pitfalls. And if you want more advice on like mentality and stuff, watch my video on loser skill. There's a lot of very good educational bits there. Yeah, I think it might be this fight that I can use as an example for pocketed DPS. Yes, I think it is. Let's see. Is it? I think Lucio is gonna help the Cassidy or something. Let me just find the exact fight. Is it this one? No, the match ends right now. Yeah, the match ends right now. No, it's earlier. Earlier on this exact point, I believe. Let's see, where is it? Because I have a really good example for this. I just need to find it. It's not this fight. This is a Nanoblade fight.
How's it going?
This is a retake fight. Let me actually fully watch this because... Is it really not this? No, it's not. Cassidy is that here. But we already watched this, didn't we? Am I crazy? Am I imagining things? I could swear there was a perfect example of this here. Is it earlier? It might be earlier. It might be on this one, maybe. Might be on this points. No. You're gonna get burned out, yeah. You're gonna get burned out. The best thing is give as many focused hours as you can, but be realistic about those. Some people are going to be able to give 1 hour of focused practice, some people are going to be able to give 2 hours, right? If you want to play for fun, then yes, go for it. But be careful about not playing and developing bad habits when you start performing worse, right? It's better for you to err on less time than maybe more. I mean, don't quote me on that because I'm not too sure, but if you play much while you're playing badly, you're gonna develop bad habits from playing badly. But if you play while you're playing well, yes, if you cut it short, you might not learn as much, but at least you're not developing bad habits and you're actually moving forward. It's not a kill.
Unlocks in 10 seconds.
It's not kill because I don't actually kill the pocketed Cassidy. I just remember a situation where Cassidy has a Lucio pocket on an angle and I choose not to contest him because I can't. But I guess that I can answer this even if I don't actually get the exact situation. I'm gonna check if it's on this point. If it isn't, then we're gonna move on. And then I'm gonna just answer the question straight up. Also, chat, I'm gonna try to talk a little less because I'm already feeling that I'm straining my voice, and we still have a full VOD to review, so I'm gonna try to talk a little bit lower volume, and I'm gonna try to talk less. I think it might be this, yes, because right now you can see, right? Pocketed Cassidy with Lucio on an angle. But here's the thing, can I contest them? This is a very simple question here, right? Just yes, no. Look at where I'm positioned and look at where they are positioned. I haven't dropped any frames, so there shouldn't be much delay between me asking the question and chat getting to it and being able to answer. Or at least I was initially assuming, maybe there is. Yeah, I can't do much to contest right now. Now, I will just warn you, this is a trick question. It does not actually matter whether or not I am positioned to contest these players or not. I mean, actually it does. It does, but kind of it doesn't. You'll see why in a second. The more important question is, do I need to contest these players? That's the interesting question. Try to answer this one. Not yet? Why? Why do you think so? If you don't, they're going to deepen the angle. Yeah, sure. If you take breaks, you can maybe do more hours, but just be careful, right? And always make sure the longer that you're playing for, the more you need breaks and constant breaks to check on yourself. Even if you might think, like, your brain tells you, no, I'm actually fine, I can keep playing. Your brain, once it's tired, is gonna start to make mistakes. It's gonna start to lie to yourself because maybe you just wanna play and you wanna believe that you're fine to play, but you are not actually fine to play. So, actually take a lot of breaks the longer that you're playing for, and try to really ask yourself, is it really true that I can keep playing, or am I too tired? Right? It takes a lot of discipline to be able to make those questions, but it's questions that if you have the discipline are gonna save you a whole lot of trouble from trying to play too long and then, you know, frustrated, developing bad habits and getting burned out from the game. Not important for now? Yeah, it's just not important. Well, the few informations here that are very important that my brain tells me, and again, this is instincts. If I try to rationalize this, it wouldn't work. But because I'm not trying to rationalize this, I'm just playing on my instincts, I just realize it's too far, I don't have good cover to try and close the gap on them. So, and most importantly, these players are not relevant. They are not running our team for shit. This does not matter. Maybe if they deepen the angle here, yes, but once they deepen the angle, then I can contest. I have a lot of time to see if they're gonna do that. And most importantly, look at this. I can't really deepen the angle right now. Yes, this Cassidy has speed boost, but we are I mean, we're not the most mobile comp ever, but like, Doom and Genji are a heck of a tag team to deal with these guys, and with break support and a little bit of range damage from these players that are well positioned on the high grounds, These players would be taking a massive risk to deepen the angle, even if the team was alive, right? The enemy team is struggling to walk through here, and they just lost their Genji. These players are not relevant. So trying to contest them gives them value. They can't really deepen the angle because of the circumstances. Even if they did, we would still be fine, because then once they deepen the angle, then I dash in. And then we take cooldowns, and then probably win. Even if I don't, I probably don't die. I just hide behind this wall, and then they can't really deepen. I got pockets. So I will probably just wait to contest them here, because they're not relevant. If they were relevant, that's when I contest, and that's why I'm saying, once they walk, if they walk, and I am in a position where I can contest, then I contest. But otherwise, I don't. One important thing is that I could contest these players if I was already set up, but I'm not. I was set up to fight here, that's what I was fighting, so I'm not gonna force. If I was already on this corner, then yes, I would actually be making this play, because there's no reason not to. And then once I need to, I back off. The only debate is, should I play this angle passively or actively? Because playing it passively means I get forced out slower, which means I get to hold these players here for longer and prevent them from walking for longer. But if I play actively, I get the chance to make something happen, but if I don't, I get forced out, and I'll give them the opportunity to walk. And then I don't have cooldowns to contest and stop this rotation, if you see what I mean, right? So that would be the only question. But since I'm not set up, and they're not relevant, and we're fine, then there is no reason, right? So there are a lot of little complications. And this is once again why it's so important for me to trust my instincts. I'm not gonna be able to rationalize this in the moment. But the more times I'm presented with situations like this, and I'm just trusting my instincts and I'm just playing the game, the more I realize that I'm making the correct decisions basically every time. I shouldn't contest these players here. I don't need to. So I can just chill, right? So you're gonna see that they just chill. And they just fucking leave, right? And now we turn on these guys. And they also can't push because the flank pressure from the Cassidy and the Lucio, while cute, is not gonna work. They needed to have the Genji, they maybe needed to have the Genji flank rather than the Cassidy or something. Or if they want to flank, I think that they probably can't flank through here. They need to take the long flank. Because this is not a bad idea, and you're gonna see this in pro play a lot, where players or better teams actually send people on flanks and actually clear space better when they're trying to retake into space. But this wasn't exactly the way to play, right? In this situation. Let me actually catch up to chat. When against Hiko? Yeah, I played against Hiko. I don't think I played against Hiko and Genji. I played against Hiko and Ball when I was playing EU and warming up. And funny enough, again, talking about ego and everything, I warm up better on tank than on DPS because it's not about the mechanics, it's about my mental state. My mental state is the single most important thing towards my performance, either positively or negatively. So if playing tank forces me to think and focus on mechanics and just be more present in the moments, right? And I don't care about rank because I'm just warming up on tank. It sets me up to achieve a better mental state that's gonna get my DPS performance up, right? So warming up on tank actually ends up usually being the best way for me to warm up on DPS because it warms up my mental. And now I understand why. I mean, at that point you're kind of already fucked, aren't you? You're putting yourself at a very bad situation. Like, can I clutch a situation where my odds are 20-80? Like 20 to win, 80 to lose? Yes, maybe, but it's unlikely, right? That's the important thing. So one, if you are set up, if you're not set up for them but you're set up for something else, probably do that something else. If you're not set up for anything or your team is in a rush to do something, then you probably need to force something. If your team is in a good situation to give up ground, reset the fights, and then you actually properly set yourself up to contest someone, then yes, you do that, right? There are a lot of different paths for you to take. It's just about experience to know what works and what doesn't in the moment, and just getting better at reading the situation. Like in this case, you for example can see that my read was extremely good, because I just knew that that wasn't trending, and that me going in was dumb, so I didn't. And then they got out, and then I got contribute here. Right? But this comes from experience. So one of the best advices, and one of the interesting things about the stuff that I'm learning to improve my own performance in the future, is not just that it's gonna improve my performance a lot, but also my coaching, my advice. One of the biggest things that I now say to people about how they can improve is literally to just fucking play the game. And most importantly, just don't be afraid to actually feed. So, I don't care if I make a bad play. Let me give an example. King's Row. I know exact moments. And this wasn't even a bad play, by the way. It just didn't end up working out. Yeah, right here. Right here. This is interesting. We're getting staggered. We might not get a retouch. If I live, we might get a retouch, but it's unlikely for us to win this fight. I mean, we're gonna have beat, but with beat, maybe this is winnable, but yeah. In this situation, I don't think I can actually live. I could maybe try to live, but I don't think I can live. But most importantly, look at what my instincts end up telling me. And let me see if someone else reads the exact same thing that I do in the situation. Because there is a very specific reason why I go for the play that I do. I just wonder if anyone else sees the exact trigger that I saw that caused me to go in.
Careful now. That's sharp.
No, it's not about that. Because yes, sure, but at that point I wouldn't be focused. I mean, I guess I could be focused in that situation, but it's not about me trying to get value because I'm gonna die. I legitimately think there's a chance for me to make an actual play. Regardless of whether or not I was gonna die or not. I would make this play even if I had 250 HP and I could actually live in the situation. That's the interesting thing about this specific analysis, is that, well, yes, on this specific situation, yes, maybe it's about I'm gonna die either way, so I might as well try something, but I would do this even if I could actually live. Because there is a legitimate chance that I kill this Cassidy. The question is, why is there a legitimate chance that I kill this Cassidy? That's what I want to get at. It's a little bit deeper, right, of an analysis. So now that I've given you all these hints, get a longer spawn? No, it's not it. You're overthinking it. So now you dig too deep. Half health and dash range, yeah. And most importantly, half health in dash range. But does this Cassidy expect me to engage? Yes or no? A little bit more delayed than I expected, but yeah. Yeah, these players are not thinking about them potentially dying. They have supports that theoretically should be pushing up to chase. I'm extremely low. I'm not playing aggressively. I'm playing like I'm just staggering myself and not doing shit. So I've, to a certain extent, lured them into a false sense of security, right? And yes, I didn't do this consciously, but something that my brain told me right here, and again, this is why it's so important to be present at the moment. My brain noticed a vulnerability here. Cassidy has no role. Cassidy is in dash distance. Cassidy is walking basically in a straight line towards me. He is in dash combo distance. He is in the breakpoint for a dash combo to kill, and he has predictable movements. I could make this in a 1v5 scenario and still be extremely confident about getting it off. I could make this play if my entire team was alive, and failing this play means I throw this recontest. That's how confident I am, because I have all the information required to know that, while yes, risky, this play is extremely doable, and the more confident I am about this play, the better. It's funny, because right now, through an analysis about me, I've literally just given you the secret to Advocate's success, which is something that I for a long time did not understand, but now I do. Understanding my own ego made me understand why he is so good. Advocate just doesn't give a shit. And most importantly, Advocate thinks that he is the best. And not only does he think he is, he plays like he is the best. So it's not just superficial thinking. He deeply believes it, he acts like it, and he has practiced to be the best. So his instincts, which are different than mine, they are much more mechanical, less about the game sense of the game. He makes many more mistakes of that than me, but he is so much more mechanically precise than me, are so good that while, yes, a lot of the plays might not make sense from my perspective, at least in the past, now that I'm aware of the things that he's looking for, it makes sense. This is exactly something that Advocates would do. This is the exact thing that Advocates looks for, and why it seems like he pulls plays out of his ass, right? Because he isn't actually. This is a legit vulnerability that has a very high chance of working if you are confident in your mechanics and you're confident in the play and you don't second guess yourself. And that's the profile of player that Advocates is. So that's why he so consistently clutches situations like this. See what I mean? And that type of stuff is just like so interesting to me and so exciting too, right? It's just like I have unlocked just a whole new realm of knowledge now. I feel more confident than ever that I can not only reach champ now, but that I have what it takes to potentially push further and maybe even actually become a better player than Advocates in the future, right? Obviously that is an extremely tall task to ask, but beforehand, whenever I said that I wanted to be the rank 1, or even that I wanted to reach champ, that was very much a half promise, or just like a half-assed promise to myself, or that I didn't really think that I could do it, and I didn't really want it. But now I really do. Now I really do, and not only do I really do, but I really believe. So these understandings might seem like at first you're grasping for straws to try to figure out your ego and everything, but once you figure it out and all the pieces fall together, it's just incredibly enlightening. And so, while yes, this has been like a really long stream and a lot of it might seem kind of aimless and everything, it's such a fruitful conversation that for those that are interested in hearing all of it and putting in the work and thinking about what they can take away from it and doing their own detective work, it's incredibly rewarding. Yeah. It kind of is like that, Rashingo. I don't care if it's ended up being the correct play or not. I'm just gonna execute the plays that I trust my instincts to make as best as I can, and I can hone my instincts outside of the game. The thing is, it's not like ego is very easily the enemy. Very easily is something that actually holds you back. But if you handle your ego properly, it can be an incredibly powerful tool. And the important thing here is that I'm not misusing my ego. I'm not thinking that I'm the smartest player and so that I'm gonna win every game from it. I'm not using my ego to think that I'm better than these players. I'm using this ego to trust myself. That's extremely important to think about and remember. See the difference? Egoing someone because you think you're better is a quick way for you to just get on a high horse and then get slapped in the face and then lose all of your confidence and then go on a downhill, right? And then snowball out of control and everything. But I'm not misusing my ego. I'm not making plays here because I think I see something that I don't see. I actually do see this. I'm just trusting my instincts. That's it. I wouldn't say that's so much about your ego as it is about just like you being satisfied, right? About just like where you're at, your desire, right? You're not burning with desire to just keep climbing, for example. I'm not perfectly sure about the exact terminology of this. Again, this is also part of why I want to chat with like Stefano and Spilo, because that's gonna be like a very fruitful discussion that's gonna give us a deeper understanding on these topics. But yeah. So I see a realistic chance to kill this Cassidy because I see the vulnerabilities that enable a kill here in a situation that doesn't feel like it should, and it would actually have worked if this guy didn't stop walking in a straight line. This guy stopped walking in a straight line, and that actually made me lose the kill. But the read was perfect, the mechanics were perfect if he actually kept walking. He just stopped doing this and did this instead. So that made me fail the kill. Yeah, the way that you're gonna deal with it might be different than mine, but the stuff that I talked to you about, the process that I went through, the experimentation and everything, is the most important part, right? Let's go back here. But yeah, I hope that you're all enjoying this, because this is a very different stream than what I usually do. But it's something that I'm very interested in talking about. Not only this topic, but also just having these types of discussions on stream. About more abstract topics or just gameplay discussions and design discussions and everything. What exactly am I supposed to be judging about TikTok Genjis? The way they play? Their clips? Their content style? Yeah. Quick question for chat. And now, I don't think I'm gonna try and talk that much. Because really, if I talk too much more, I'm gonna actually screw up my voice. I've been talking too much, and most importantly, I talked with too much emphasis in the past, throughout these last 2 hours, because I get excited easily about talking about the game, and so I end up straining my voice too much. So now I'm gonna try to keep it down and talk less. Just ask questions for chat and have a chat answer. Why do you think I'm not contesting the angles? Why do you think I'm just gonna be sitting here and poking? We don't have to overthink this one. Right, this was the sequence for you to analyze, by the way. What is there to contest? I mean, there are things to contest. Like there are DPS on angles and everything. Your account dropping? Don't care. For those that want to stay, great knowledge ahead. For those that don't want, I feel sad for them, right? That's on them. I'm not married to views here. I never really have been. I just help the people that want to be helped, and then I give them the value, right? And I still find this to be like a good view count. Still have to put this in perspective. Even if just 10 viewers, I believe that that's already in like the top 1% of streamers or something like that. Most people would stream to like 1. Nothing worth contesting yet? Yeah. I would argue that there is some important stuff, like the enemy team does control more space than us. They control this, the Tracer is flanking, the Diva is creeping up, and they have better area around the point. However, I don't think I have the time to flank around and contest Tracer, contest these guys. If I get out, we lose even more space, so I need to keep pressuring. And I can't commit here because I have no trigger. If I do, the entire enemy camp is extremely mobile. I will die if I don't get value. And my team is not in a position where we can quite take an engagement like this and be like happy. My team is not positioned to make this type of pressure. We are at a disadvantage if we take an engagement. So what we have to do is wait for a point to unlock. Once point unlocks, I can maybe look to dual points. This might give our team a little bit more space, or if the enemy team overextends, walks into us, then we can maybe do something, right? But yeah, right now the enemy team just has a better setup and we don't really have many choices. I need to keep pressuring because I don't think my team is gonna fully kite this. And so ideally our team probably should fully kite or try to rotate around, make sure that this setup then isn't good because we aren't here anymore. We're all the way around, right? And then set up our BAP brig so that they can shoot point once point unlocks, right? And then stuff like that. But as of right now, since I don't believe this is gonna happen, my best play is sit here and wait. Wait for someone to make a mistake and keep pressuring. So just vote. And you can see the enemy team also doesn't really want to make a move here, because they don't have setups quite good enough. The Tracer is getting contested on the angle. The Genji does not have the confidence to engage right now, similarly to me. I don't have the confidence to engage there, right? Very easy to get punished here. So unless it was a full commit by the enemy team, which harder to do on ranked than it is in team play, then this is just going to be a stalemate where they hold better position, and they're fine taking this. Their backline is a glass cannon, so is ours. Here's the little secret about BAP. BAP feels like a character, at least in ranked, that is extremely tanky, right? It has like 600 effective HP. But you know who is more survivable? Is it really BAP or is it like Lucio or Curie? It depends on the matchup, but BAP is not actually as survivable as people think, even though he has crazy stats. These characters don't have crazy stats, so why do they live? And if this character has crazy stats, why does this character ever die? It's not just about stats, right? This character has no mobility. These characters have mobility, and crazy mobility. So they need to have less HP and less healing in order to make up for that. Otherwise, if they had BAP's effective HP and their entire kits, these characters would be insanely broken. So if this BAP gets run over by a proper dive by the enemy team, this character is ridiculously fragile. In fact, we can even prove that this character is stupidly fragile by the fact that BAP Life Weaver is a comp that has been surging in popularity in pro play. You wanna know why? Because Life Weaver keeps him safe, assuming this is Life Weaver, right? Life Weaver pulls BAP, giving him the mobility that it doesn't have, and importantly, the survivability that BAP doesn't have. It sounds counterintuitive that BAP lacks survivability, but he kind of does. He kind of does. Which is funny, right? So yeah, Life River is played with characters like Spylo likes to say, you play Life River if your team has babies to pull. Life River keeps his babies safe. Good examples for babies for Life River to keep safe are Baptiste and Cassidy. Characters that in a vacuum might seem very sturdy, right? Very chunky, with a lot of HP and hard to dive, but crumble to dive if it's a good dive. And yeah, you can see this exact moment, right? D.Va goes in, but the Tracer pincer wasn't that good. We kind of shrugged it off because Brig is quite strong into Tracer. And also there is the D.Va engagement is not great, and there is no follow-up from engaging and everything. So us sitting here was good. And now we just give up a little bit of points because we don't have to rush points. It's more important to win the fight. I was gonna wrap around and contest points and take a 1v1 trade while my team does whatever. And then maybe if I start winning, I can deepen my angle, and then I have an opportunity. But yeah. So my instincts here ended up being quite good, right? We ended up just in the back foot on the rollout because the enemy team is faster. They have Lucio, we don't. And I didn't think that our team would kite for us to reset, remove that advantage, and take a better space for a fight, for our comp and everything. So I just had to stay there. So it's not flashy, but it's good decision making on my part, right? And that's the kind of... I wouldn't call that carrying, because carrying usually implies more, but that is the kind of stuff where a lot of Genji players would try to force something and die, and they would do the opposite, they would throw. Where and this is where I kind of do get the value that other Genji players don't, and that's where I kind of differentiate myself, right? A player like Advocates might just cheese out a kill 1v5 when people are not expecting, or just get insane value on his dive to the point where his team can actually walk out and keep him alive and not die. But I will make sure that we don't make a mistake there most often, and then we can actually take a fight, right? I won't die. So I'll throw accumulated game sense plays of like not taking unnecessary risks or taking the right risks. I will slowly give myself an advantage over, let's say, an enemy Genji, because he will make more mistakes than I. He will maybe carry mechanically more than I will, but that's a kind of way that I carry, right? So a lot of it is not flashy, right? And again, I will not say that I carry this fight, but I didn't throw this fight, right? Now, for all the things that I just said, this right now will be awful. First I checked the flank to see if they were trying to force points, at which point I'm probably down to mark. That's correct. Here, this is gonna be bad. Yes, Cassidy double headshot me. However, should we be playing out here? What's our comp and what's their comp? Like, yes, Baptiste does like the sideline. But let's look, for example, about Doom and Hazard. Who wants to be playing inside and who wants to be playing outside? Scary thing here is that I would disagree. The reason why I really dislike this is because Hazard Wall on this choke is extremely dangerous. Doomfist has much easier time punching people on the inside. It's very tough for them to walk through this choke, it's very tough for them to walk through the left choke. Doomfist has the mobility to keep them anywhere. right? Like, I do think that if we properly play this, yes, this is fine, right? Like, one, I got double headshot by a Cassidy at a very big range, which I did not expect. Very good play by him, and to a certain extent, misplay on me on mechanics, right? Not deflecting fast enough to respect his threat, positioning, because I didn't think there was any threat, so I was kind of relaxed here when I shouldn't. But I don't know if we really should be taking the fight up here, right? I don't think it's the worst ever, but realistically, I didn't want to take the fight here, so on this situation, my instincts let me down. And most importantly, my mechanics also did. Yeah, but the thing I think about is, who do we value more in terms of like inside value? Hazard or Doom? Both are good, but I think Doom punches are more scary. Doom punches are more immediate kill pressure with Power Punch. But yeah, it's fine. We can take a fight here, we can take a fight inside. It's just about, in this case, I just relaxed in a situation where I couldn't. I didn't give it as much focus. I screwed up on my positioning. I screwed up on my timing on the deflect. I didn't press deflect. So yeah, mainly a mistake on me, right? And that's the thing. Sometimes I would just let, and again, I'm not gonna be perfect, right? I'm not trying to be perfect. And I will be harsh on myself because this was absolutely a throw on me. And this is the kind of place where I need to learn. Not in game, I don't need to be harsh to myself in game, because if I was, I'm gonna give a quick spoiler. I go 3 and 4 at the start of this game. If I start to go downhill mentally, we'll lose this game. But because I was living in the present, I did not give a shit about the deaths that I had early, and I just kept playing, and that way we won the game. But yeah, now that we're here and analyzing, that's where the moment we need to learn and be harsh and not be like, let's ignore this, right? I need to ignore this in game. I need to analyze this out of the game, right? So how should I position? I think that maybe I position more safely, like here, and patiently. It's unlikely to actually get dives this deep. We can posture and make it so, because here's the thing, right? It's awkward for us to engage into them, but it's awkward for them to engage into us. Heather doesn't quite have the ability to leap on our backline right now, because we all turn. He doesn't have the setup from his DPS yet. Would be the same thing as the D.Va dying early last time. So we can just wait. So I need to do the exact same thing I did before. Just hold a position, wait for them to go in, and then I can capitalize on whatever, right? So this is once again a point to prove why my play before, which isn't flash or anything like that, was the correct read, right? The correct read doesn't have to be sexy. It's just consistently good decision making is the way that I will affect matches the most, right? And in this case, I did the opposite, right? Instead of doing the carry or not carrying, but just not throwing, this time I threw. And one of the important things about staying alive is that Genji is really good later in fights. When things get messy, cooldowns get traded, Genji is an extremely good cleanup character. And also Genji becomes a very threatening flanker later in fights because people lose track of him, right? So then he can more effectively flank and actually get the kills and everything. So in a way, having the game sense to stay alive and be positioned to find those later opportunities is also a way for me to carry. Because initially, it's not gonna actually do much if I don't find those later opportunities. But once I do, that's when I get to prove that my game sense is paying off, right? So to a certain extent, one of the ways that I prove my game sense is not so much through the consistency, because yes, the consistency is great, but also through the mechanical execution. That's important for me to realize. It's not like a player like me doesn't have to practice mechanics, because I do. I need to execute on my plays. And I need to be confident in executing my plays. I just need to get to the point where I get those plays. And early in the fight is not when the opportunity is going to be created most of the time. So I need to make sure that I live until the point where there are opportunities for me, and I need to make sure that I'm positioned to execute on them, and I'm good enough to execute on them. Right? So in this case, I failed that. If I was alive right now, look at the opportunity that I might have. I might be able to dash and finish this Kiriko, right? And we're gonna see more about what I mentioned later, I believe. Maybe not on this VOD, but on others. I don't know if I'm gonna end up analyzing other VODs, like this stream has already been very long. but on future streams we can. And I'm gonna record all of these matches, I think, for the future. I'm planning, after I reach champ, on making like a really long video that talks about a lot of concepts, a lot of psychology that got me to champ and everything. So it's gonna take a long time, but obviously it's not gonna be the same level of production and length as Wolfie VGC's video on his latest Parish Trap win, or at least his latest video on a Parish Trap win, but it is to a certain extent inspired by it in terms of a scope of the project. And in fact, I learned a lot about like watching that video and watching that video again. I watched it one more time with my dad. Watching that video actually taught me a few things about confidence, especially because Wolfie to a certain extent is a similar player to me, of like making very good use of like positioning and playing the smart long game, and having some mentality struggles in the past that he fixed in that tournament and that got him to win. So I actually ended up learning a lot. Wolfie VGC's video on his latest Parish Trap win, or at least the latest video he has on Parish Trap. Once you actually get an off angle, it depends on the situation. Sometimes it's poking from that off angle if there isn't a reason to engage yet. If there's a trigger, it's engaging from that off angle. Part of the time, like, off angles can be used, for example, here, this off angle isn't to poke. This off angle is to access backline. But sometimes, like the off angle I took at the start, was an off angle to just shoot D.Va from the side. And then later on to actually achieve backline, assuming the enemy team rushed through and ignore my threat, right? Because then the backline would walk forward and I would get to hit the backline like this, right? So it depends on the situation. And it's hard for me to generalize here. Let me get my stuff correct here. I do wonder how many of you watch through Twitch. Okay, I saw more activity on Twitch earlier on the stream, and then now not so much. I still think it's worth multi-streaming, but so far it doesn't seem like there's too much activity on Twitch. Still useful though. You watch? Okay. Did you just find me now through Twitch, or were you already a YouTube viewer that just prefers the Twitch UI? I wonder like how many people actually are gonna end up finding me through Twitch. The Twitch discoverability is not very good, so, and I'm not like an established creator or one of the biggest ones in terms of Genji on Twitch, so I don't expect to actually get much discoverability on Twitch as a platform. But yeah, maybe with people like you, right, searching Genji and Overwatch, end up finding me. Ah, this is a fun one. This one, I just didn't think I could kite this. And frankly speaking, it's not just that I didn't think I could kite this because they have Lucio and we don't, and I'm already so close, but also, they're gonna push hard here, and while yes, we probably don't win this fight, there's a decent chance that I can, one, get a good deflect here and trigger a kill, and two, just like, from them being overconfident, like, look at my proximity on this Lucio, right? Like, it's essentially like I just reached the state that I want on a normal fight, except my team is dead, right? But yeah, so it's not a normal fight, but I got the proximity I want, so I can try to execute on it. And yeah, now we're gonna see it, the off angle, right? Yesterday's Hiko's video, yeah. I wish you didn't though. I don't mind appearing through the fact that I was playing on that match. What I did find extremely creepy was the use of AI. And I already talked to the editor, and the editor already apologized. But yeah, I was really creeped out by that. Because they did not ask for my permission. That was a surprise, and I fucking hated it. I absolutely fucking hated seeing myself like that. It wasn't even like a damaging way to like show me or anything like that. It was just for like a extremely small segment that could even have been removed from the video because it frankly doesn't add anything to it, right? It's not like the video tried to make me show like something that is politically considered incorrect or something like that, non-acceptable socially, right? But still, it just completely creeped me out, just seeing that. Because I did not give my permission, and I find that kind of thing with AI just like not a good use of it. I've already talked a little bit about AI in the channel here before, but generative AI is something I really dislike. AI for things like spotting cancer early and stuff like that is just like, sure, it helps. It just frees up some of the work and even does a better work than humans at some points, but the generative AI, no, it does the opposite. And is actively harmful too, most of the time. Especially because AI is often used to like spread deepfakes and misinformation and stuff like that, so. Okay. You can see it here, right? I have like a break pockets, and we need to clear this angle because this angle is, one, we need to clear them so that they don't use it, but at the same time I don't actually think that Cassidy is gonna deep flank this way. So this is more so that I have an angle to access backline later into the fight. I don't want to walk through the choke. I don't think this angle is the best for me. This is probably the best angle for me, so I choose to go this way. The brick supports me, right? Yeah, this is not enough angle to poke necessarily. This is not even enough angle to clear them from this position. This is just because I need to actually, I need to clear them, not to keep my team safe, but rather to give myself the angle to access the enemy backline. Doesn't Genji skin? You need to pay the coins to unlock the battle pass. You can get it for free if you played for a long time. Besides the first season, I have not used any money on Overwatch. I've gotten one more battle pass. I've gotten the Street Runner skin and I think one or two other things, but they have been through the free coins that you get from just playing the game. Okay. They're heavily marking this. They beat push this, which is a good play by them, because they're already at 70%. And then I die, so... yeah, very good push by them. And then here's a very cool part. Look at what happens here. I think this might surprise you all.
This is why you hire a professional.
I'm just smiling and waiting to see. Weird blade, right? Very weird blade. It was just a split-second decision, but it was like, we need to take this fight. We just need to. I don't even know if that's necessarily the smartest thing ever, because the enemy team still had ults, but the enemy team, one, wasn't particularly well set up because they didn't think we had touch. Two, we had ults to fight, so while it is certainly a gamble, I'm not gonna say that, oh, I had a intergalactic brain idea. Like, no, that was just me accepting like a probably sub 50% chance for us to win that fight. And if we lose the fight, we just throw ults away for nothing and maybe even get snowballed into losing the second point. But I just said, fuck it, let's ball. And I just bladed to touch. Because my Doom couldn't have another touch. One thing I will say is that they were mispositioned and they used cooldowns on me. So that opened my team up. But it was still a lot on them to carry. And yeah. But yeah. Certainly an interesting idea. And if I hesitated, I don't touch. But I didn't. I just said, fuck it, I'm blading, I'm getting the dash reset to touch, and I'm touching. Good luck, team. And now they're on the back foot, because now we're contesting, and most importantly, we're actually holding. Well, the enemy team wasn't, because they didn't think that we were touching, and they were also chasing Doom that was touching and touching again on the point until he couldn't. and I needed a touch. And now I'm here to mark the touch, and my team is there to mark top. So I have break pockets. Genji has to burn cooldowns early. I don't. So we get an advantage that way. My Doom almost throws this because my Doom should not worry about point. My Doom should be worried about top. My Doomfist just gave up a ridiculous amount of space top. Like, if my Doom contests, Cassidy doesn't become a threat. These guys don't push. It cancels the hazard ults. This backline should not be getting walked at. This was almost my Doom throwing. But it was still gonna be a hard fight for the enemy team. And so we clutched it. Obviously, yes, it's still like, while the Blade gets some credit, it's mostly still credit on my team for playing it extremely well to the point where we can actually win. But I'm very glad that I actually decided to go for the Blade, didn't hesitate, and actually touched. Because there was a chance, and the chance wasn't so small that it wasn't worth going for. This play is very simple. Very, very simple. Who should win this fight, chat? Who should win this? No, it's not a whoever doesn't push in. There we go. Who should win this fight? There are a few important bits of information right here on the screen. They have Blade. That's the only ultimate on board. We have a bad setup with BAP. We would like to play further away. BAP Doom. BAP Genji is not the best synergy. At least I have Break synergy, but BAP Doom is not a great synergy. But we can play BAP further away and have Doom and Genji closer, and then Break can maybe even arguably pocket both, but yeah. Yeah, we're not holding perfectly. It's too easy for them to get on top of our BAP and our Cassidy, right? They have an ult advantage. We have better space theoretically, but we're not holding space the greatest for our comp, so even then it's arguable. So I don't know who has the advantage, is the answer. Maybe we, maybe they. But the important thing here is that I don't know if we win the long fight. I don't know if I have what it takes. They bladed in. We ended up just dealing with the Blade, but the Blade still forces a lot of resources and gets a ton of space and everything. So look at the way I handle this duel. I don't have deflect. And I just say fuck it with ball. And just two-shot this guy, right? That's because I didn't think that we would actually win this fight unless we made something crazy. So I made something crazy. I just said I need to win this duel. If I dash out here, wait 8 seconds to do something once my cooldowns are back and I have full HP in the proper position, one, they don't think I would actually have a good position because the enemy team would take space and they wouldn't let me get a setup on them. And sure, I thought that my team would already be dead. So now it's a 4v3, but because I took a risk and the Genji ended up feeding. But even if like I live here and they don't kill the Cassidy, enemy team still took a lot of space from the Blade and forced a ton of resources. So it's still very winnable for them. Now it's much harder for them to win though. They lost most of their damage. So that's the kind of stuff that I mean with like, I need to prove that I'm the smartest through mechanics. Because that was a smart read on me. Maybe it was possible for us to live, but me reading that we need to make something happen and we need to make something happen now is also a good read. Both reads are valid. And so the way that I prove that I'm the smartest in a lot of situations is through just executing on the play that I'm set up to do. Be it marking, be it gambling on a kill, be it whatever it may be, right? So in this case, I just took the gamble on the Cassidy with no doubt in my mind that I should be taking it, which means that I get to, instead of overthinking and not focusing on my mechanics that I don't know if I should be going for, I just go for it. I just go for it, I just focus on getting the kill, I take a little bit of an advantage on the peak by doing a little bit of a walk climb, so that I have a great angle to dash in on the grounds right behind him to set up my follow-up, great angle to get headshots, so then I get a huge burst early, and then I get a quick follow-up and kill, right? So it's a two-step thing, right? Making the right read, or the best read that I could on the limited time that I had, trusting my instincts, and then executing. You're right up, Mr. Improvement. Yeah. Here, we just had to give up a ton of space. Yeah. We just walked back so much. And possibly because Doomfist, yeah. Now we can see why. Look at the distance our map is playing at. This is good, but this does mean that the Doom gets poked out easily by the Hazard. Doomfist also doesn't even have a great matchup into Hazard. Hazard probably does what Doomfist does better most of the time. The thing that Doomfist has over Hazard is a little bit more lethality at the cost of being a glass cannon compared to Hazard, and more mobility. But in this case, we can't really use the mobility yet. The enemy team is full clearing this while we're not set up, so this feels bad, but this isn't actually bad. Because once the enemy team tries to push into open space, now this gives a lot of value to BAP. This baits the enemy in, and then we can counter engage and do whatever. So right now this feels bad, but this is important not to panic. And once again, another lesson for me, and for me especially, for the future. It doesn't matter whether or not this is the best play that it should be making or not, if it should be giving up the space. The point is, we need to give space right now. So don't think, just do. Don't die. Good players don't get traded. And while this isn't a situation to get traded, because the fight hasn't devolved, the phrase still kind of makes sense here. Because this is a situation where we shouldn't die. There's still a lot of fight left, even if they have a 60% chance to win this fight now. Right? So now you're gonna see, like, yes, we lost a lot of space, but we still have some angle control. We have our BAP playing far, kind of baiting. We have window. We can take this fight. And yeah, it's not great, but it's still very doable, right? You can see how awkward it is. These guys are not getting to fully close the gap. They are hiding behind this wall. These guys are creeping up, but they still don't have quite the setup they want. I still am lurking and can contest people. Doomfist is lurking, and we just got to the high ground now after they failed to push us from us kiting very successfully to the point of getting back top and windowing. I have my big pocketing me, a little bit awkward, but we're getting to take this Hazard. And you can see, right? There's a lot of fight to be made. There's a lot of, like, they make a move, we make a move, teams get a little bit of ground and lose a little bit of grounds, but not worth me panicking and trying to make a play that early, right? Very different situation from before with, like, the Blade, where a lot of resources were already traded, the enemy team was already on top of our backline and we didn't really have a chance to kite. So this time there is a fight to be played. So living, and this is exactly what I should have done earlier when I died in the open to a Cassidy 2-tap, for those that remember. I should have lived, because then I can actually play the long fight. I can slowly use my game sense to try to gain ground through positioning better than them, timing engagements better, right? And then potentially later in the fight, getting a lot of kills through just finding people that are low, right? And executing. Ended up, they just win this trade, but we ended up stalling point a bunch. And we had a decent chance, and we even had to force a ton of ults from them for them to win, right? High noon, beats, etc.
My ultimate is almost ready.
And they just push up and get a daggers, which is good. Now they're in one fight territory instead of being two. And they keep pushing. Oh, and this is good. I wanted to engage, but I couldn't. There was no presence main. Because they were pushing so hard that yes, we got a pick on the Lucio, and we used Rally to push back in. We still didn't have the presence to make my flank to access backline work. Because the Cassidy ended up being able to look at me. So I needed to give up space and everything. And I believe this is points, because now we're not gonna have enough to actually touch. This time I didn't want to blade touch. Especially because they just Kitsune'd. Our Doom is dead. So while I could maybe blade one here, I didn't deflect on time, and two, I didn't think that this fight was actually winnable compared to the last one. So this time I didn't blade. Good job. I will analyze the rest of this match later. For those that want to analyze the rest of this match, I'll also leave you the code. The code is here. However, I am gonna stop talking now, because I've talked way too much and I'm already feeling the strain on my voice. So now I'm just gonna probably chill for the rest of the day, not talk, and just try to recover. Because I have abused my voice this stream. I have talked way too much. So yeah. Hope you all enjoyed this. Hope you all end up enjoying the future streams with like gameplay, even if it's not. Have I got water? I already drank a full liter of water. Yeah. Hope you all end up enjoying the future gameplay streams, which are gonna be streams where I don't interact with chat unless it's in queue. I even think that maybe I'll actually just add a delay of like 60 seconds on stream so that I don't even have to hide my screen, because there will be delay so people can't stream snipe the bans, and then I can actually play deathmatch during queue instead of just like zoning off the game and having to zone back in every time there's a match, which is hard to make you keep focused and reach the flow state, which is something that I would like to do more frequently. So yeah, we'll see exactly how future streams go, but I hope you all enjoyed this. Look forward to more of this, or don't if you don't enjoy these types of streams. And yeah, it's gonna be it. I really have to rush to the bathroom too, so yeah, bye bye.